Now when we leave, we're gonna cross the Arctic Circle soon, so that's when the real stuff begins. I'm gonna go down and then we are gonna leave for the Northwest Passage. We are preparing to leave Nome, Alaska, and this is a satellite image what the end of our next leg through the Northwest Passage looks like. Yes, all of the white stuff that you see here is ice. And this is what the bottleneck of the passage a bit further on looks like. We should be here in a few weeks, but as we are leaving Nome, this area is still covered by fast ice several feet thick. You could easily drive a tank on this kind of ice cover. Here is our whole planned route through the Northwest Passage. It is around 5,000 miles from Alaska to Greenland, and as we leave from Nome and head northwards towards the Arctic Circle, we don't yet know where our next possible stop will be. The open coastline along the way offers no protection as there are no harbors and no good anchorages. There's a lot of sea ice northwards, and getting trapped between the moving ice and the land would be extremely dangerous. There's also a few other boats attempting this passage from east to west this year. There's Pinocchio, a sturdy steel boat with a French-Canadian family. Then there's Molly with Harmon and Randall having already sailed around Antarctica and through the Northwest Passage solo with this boat. There's also our friends on Libertaire, who you've already met in the previous video. And already leaving the harbor is the French Quesera. For this passage we are joined by our friends Guutti and Juuso. Being 4 people is going to make things a lot easier, especially when we get into the icy areas where constant watch is needed. We filled up with around 400 liters of extra diesel, and this is because the distances between the settlements are very long and refueling is a difficult process. This brings our total to around 850 liters, which is still less than any of the other sailboats heading this way this year. The extra fuel brings us a bit of security in case of our mast or rigging gets damaged, and we also need fuel for heating. For these yellow cans here I actually paid like $500-600 just for the empty ones. So fueling up here is gonna be pretty expensive. Okei. Onnea matkaan. Well, we are finally doing it. I'm eating ramen noodles with some eggs and we are heading towards the Northwest Passage proper. I took one of the first watches here just because I couldn't really get sleep. I wasn't really feeling, or I'm tired but I just couldn't get sleep, so yeah, I took one of the first watches. We are heading towards a lot of ice. Right now there's still a lot of ice at Point Barrow, but if the winds turn favorable to us, then the ice gets pushed away from the coast. You know, it never really disappears completely from this area. It moves away from the coast and then back in again, and that's kind of the danger of it as well. If you end up in there and the ice pack, well, if the ice moves back in on you, then you are really screwed. But we only can make plans for the next, let's say, 12 hours. The problem in that area is that there's no good anchorages really. It's all kind of sketchy. There's a couple of lagoons that you try to enter, but sailboats never really go into those. We haven't really heard of anyone going into those in the last, several years. So I don't know. We're just going and playing it as it goes. Out of these boats that are going from Alaska to Greenland, or who are attempting to go from Alaska to Greenland this season, we are definitely the least experienced one. We have the least amount of sea miles, you know, compared to the other boats. We don't have like anyone that's like super experienced, but I actually feel pretty good. I feel pretty confident that we can do it, but I think that just might be also like the conditions doing their thing. It just feels so easy right now. It's amazing. I think we have like maybe some current with us as well, because it's seriously not windy at all. Oops, I just dropped the camera. Anyway, soon time for me to go to bed, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Moi!
I woke up and Sophie has been driving the boat like crazy here.
Crazy Sophie!
Doing 8.5, 9 knots.
It's half me, half the current.
If this keeps on, we need to think about reducing sail. The wind is supposed to increase a little bit, and Sophie has left our friends on Kesera behind. When I went to bed they were still ahead of us, but now almost 5 miles behind. Today we actually have to dodge some of the first sea ice. There is an area of sea ice that we can dodge quite easily. So we are now rounding Wales. It's a small settlement on our starboard side. Unfortunately, the only thing I know about the place is that last year it was in the national news because a lady and a baby were killed by a polar bear. When we round this cape here, we're going north, but there's ice like around here, so we need to make like a detour to make sure we don't hit any. Also put in a reef in the mainsail. Joo, joo, joo! Vielä vaan. Vielä vaan. Okei, jätä siihen. Ja
Alkaa pikkuhiljaa olemaan. Kansipoika tuli takas sisälle.
Oliko kylmä ulkona?
Ei, ja ihan saatana kiva olla tän takin sisällä.
reefed the mainsail and took the Genoa away completely because we are preparing to jibe here, but we are still doing we're still doing 8 knots with just the tiny mainsail. It doesn't feel that windy, but well, we're pretty happy with this, so we'll just continue with the mainsail only. I'm just gonna jibe the boat here and get away from the ice. Go that direction instead. Okei, vahtivuorojen jako.
Jes, kolmannella YKK. Menee ristiin. Risti YK.
Eli sit seuraavana yönä aina.
Niin. Se menee niinku rullaa eteenpäin.
Starlink not working so reliably, so I'm setting up the Iridium Go exec, the first line in the manual. Plan and act ahead. Do not wait to install it the week before departure. You should complete setup at least a month before. What about after departure?
It's okay.
Yep, we have all kinds of internet options on board Nome now, but the satellite options are either extremely slow or not all that reliable. And since connectivity is really important for us, we still mostly use cell phone based networks while in the vicinity of land. And that is why we use Saily, who are also sponsoring this video. So Saily is an eSIM or an electronic SIM card service that allows us to get connectivity and data in almost any country on the planet, no matter whether we are sailing or traveling. And the way that it works is very simple. Just scan the QR code on the screen, download the app and install it, and you automatically get a 15% discount code applied on any plan. And now you just browse through the countries and select the country that you are going to and choose the plan that you want. There is even a plan for Greenland, our final destination. And what I really like about this is that the pricing is completely transparent. It's right there on the screen, and the pricing is so much more attractive than using your own cell phone carrier's data plans while abroad. And you completely skip the hassle of trying to get like a local prepaid SIM card or a 4G box. I can just check the pricing right here and I tap on it and that's it. You know, I'm all set for my travels. So I should make some kind of a joke about Saily and smooth sailing or some kind of a wordplay, but I will spare you from that. Instead, just scan the QR code or go to saily.com/alluringarctic and you get a 15% discount automatically applied. Alternatively, you can also use the code alluringarctic. Anyway, check it out and let's continue with the video. No niin, täällä keittiössä on muuse burger. We got some moose burger meat while we were in Nome, so we are enjoying that now. Yum yum.
Yum yum. Ja back to work. Vähän isompi vene, millä voitaisiin risteillä Itämerellä. Kyllä silläkin voitaisiin ihan hyvin. 66 astetta 34. Mitä se tarkoittaa?
Ollaan yritetty pohjoinen napapiiri.
Ja tästä se lähtee.
Jep.
Ja mitä se tarkoittaa sitten?
Nyt juhlistetaan sitä.
No niin,
joo.
kyllä.
Minttutyttö tuli sieltä.
Yes.
Okei, kaikki joo samasta, mutta
Joo.
niin mä oon aika.
Joo.
Kippis vaateisväylälle.
No niin, kippis.
Skål.
Skål.
Oi, oi, Zeta.
Oi, se on.
Tää on itse annostella.
Sä olet tässä aika ison Zeta.
No joo.
No.
Skål luoteisväylä.
No niin, skål.
Skål. Okei, tästä luoteisväylä alkaa virallisesti sitten.
No niin.
Okei, turvallista luoteisväylää meille. Ja annetaanko vähän veneelle?
Joo.
Ja veneelle.
No niin.
Vähän vielä tonne, kun tulee.
The others did this ritual as I was sleeping, and it might just have worked since the excellent sailing weather continued. We couldn't really believe our luck, but the way ahead, a few hundred miles in front of us, was still blocked by ice, and the ice showed no signs of retreating, so we were effectively sailing into a dead end. The weather forecast also showed a low pressure closing in on us, and with no places to hide on this coast, we were actually getting slightly nervous. Yeah, almost can't believe this weather right now. It is now exactly midnight. The sun is still up. It will go just below the horizon for a moment. Kuutti just woke up for his midnight shift, midnight to 3 a.m. We have this crazy amount of light for most of the passage, but then later on when we get towards Greenland the nights will be darker, and that's when we will also have icebergs and stuff to deal with. So let's enjoy this while we still can. We've now left Kesera behind us. They are outside of the VHF range, so we gained like 15 miles on them, which is pretty nice because the boat, obviously their boat is a lot bigger than ours, and it's not I don't think it's a very slow boat either, but I think they are just taking it easy. I mean,
Looks like we're gonna win the race.
with the weather being so easy on us, the boys also had time to make some artsy short films.
Oho, mitäs kuide oot tekemässä täällä?
Hirvimettällä.
Okei.
Thanks Wade for the moose burger meat donation.
Siis hyvä vääni.
Ai, Finnish style meatballs from Kuutti's kitchen.
Yes.
Finnish style mashed potatoes. And here Finnish style girl. Sellaista ruokaa sieltä ilmestyy.
Jep. Joo, on kyllä ehkä hienointa ruokaa, mitä on meidän venematkoilla ollut täällä.
Mikä kirja menossa?
Lisa Markslundin napapiiri. 91 pinnaa aluetta tässä loppuratkaisu menossa.
Okei.
On niin lämmin, että voi katsoa lippistä.
Okei. After 3 days of sailing, we were coming into the area that had sea ice. We were around 36 hours away from the dubious entrance to the lagoon near Utqiagvik, and a strong low pressure was supposed to hit in around 48 hours. It was time to call in a crew meeting. Ja sitten kaikista ärsyttävin vaihtoehto on, että joudutaan jäämään tänne jonnekin ankkuriin. Ja sitten riippuen tuulen suunnasta, en tiedä voiko olla ankkurissa vai joutuuko menee merelle päiväksi.
Eihän tässä varmaan ainut ole se, että onko niiden jäitten kanssa ongelmia kun mennään sinne.
Niin, no se meidän just pitää sitten katsoa, mutta se jääjuttu me nähdään jo luultavasti. We had no exact knowledge about the entrance to the lagoon, but we knew that shallow draft barges sometimes anchor in there to take shelter from the weather and the ice. With our centerboard up, we draw approximately the same amount of water as these barges, So eventually the decision was made to go for it. We would time our entrance into the lagoon so that we'd have around half a day for the approach before the strong winds and the low pressure were supposed to come in. Ja toihan tosiaan siis on, että kun me tullaan tuohon Wainwrightin korkeudelle, niin tää merkkaa sellaisen alueen rajaa, missä voi alkaa olla niitä jääkimpaleita. Tässä on vielä erikseen merkitty.
Joo.
Et sitten pitää olla tarkasti vahdissa.
Onko ensi 200 vahdissa?
No en mä tiedä tarviiks vielä ensi yönä. Mä ajattelin, että meidän suunnitelma voisi olla, että puritaan nyt niin kuin nopeasti tai silleen täysillä purjeilla. Ja sitten yötä vasten voidaan hidastaa vauhtia jonkin 5 solmuun. Sitten mennään pelkällä jenualla varmaankin. We're gonna take the mainsail down completely.
Meikä saa aika hyvin tätä alas.
Joo, päästä vaan.
Otaanko eestelöön pois?
Alright guys, so it might not look like it, but we are now heading into our first situation with the ice. We are heading into the dead end. Yeah, kind of a little bit nervous, kind of excited. I really want the first encounter with the sea ice to go well for us. Let's take a look at the charts and I'll explain to you in more detail. We are over here now and we are planning to go into this dead end here where all of our paths are blocked by the ice. Let's take a look at a smaller scale chart as well. So we are now approximately here. We want to go into here. You are probably not familiar with ice charts, so let's take a look at this chart with our planned route. In these ice charts, the white areas are basically ice-free. Light blue areas are up to 1/10 ice concentration, meaning that up to 10% of the area is covered by ice floes. Light green is up to 30% covered by ice, yellow is up to 60% covered by ice, orange up to 80%, and then finally red is up to 100% covered by ice. So out of all of those, we are only able to go through areas that are either light blue, so up to 10% covered by ice, or light green, which would mean 10 to 30%. So you can see immediately that we are heading into a pretty bad place. Our only hope here is to go and squeeze in here and go into this lagoon here at the northernmost point of United States. The problem with the lagoon is that it is very shallow, it's very poorly charted, and these lagoons are just shifting sandbanks and very shallow entrances with, you know, mud and sand moving around a lot, with not with just the currents, but here also with the ice. Each year when the sea ice leaves, it covers the shallow areas and basically forms them again, or it can make really big changes in just a few days. And the bad thing is, if we don't get into the lagoon here, then we're gonna have north winds starting in a day and a half or 2 days, and that's gonna push all of this ice further towards the coast or onto the coast. So this is a bit of a bold move, but a calculated move that we are making to make it into the lagoon at Point Barrow, so that we are hopefully then positioned in a good way when the ice hopefully leaves the coast. I feel like you kind of have to take some risks when you are attempting this passage, and I feel like this is a risk that's well worth taking. If we cannot make the entrance into the lagoon, then we still have plenty of time to escape. We are the first boat up north this season. Everyone else is behind us. All the other sailboats that are attempting the passage are behind us. Kesera, that's them on the AIS, coming in behind us, but then the rest of the pack is a few hundred miles south of us. So it's just us and Kesera right now. Right now I'm just going to finish my night shift here, and because we are entering this light blue area where we might have some bergy bits and some ice strips, Kuti, when he comes in, I'm gonna give him some special instructions. Elikkä tässä olisi tää tilanne. Nyt me tullaan sinne jääalueelle tai ollaan tultu sinne, missä se kartta.
Joo.
Niin tähystelette sitten, jos näkyy jäätä, niin tuu sit jos näkyy yhtään jäätä, niin tuu sit herättää sohvi, niin sit voit olla kahdestaan.
Joo. Ja varmaan hailla silmälasit, niin mun parempi tähystää.
Niin, joo, kannattaa varmaan hakea.
Joo.
So I just woke up and there's really bad fog outside. The visibility is less than 100 meters. That's gonna be an issue if it lasts until we try the entrance to the lagoon. Also, other bad news, Sohvi is sick, so I've made her fruit plate. She said she didn't want anything else, but I made it just from what we still have. Also gonna make some ginger, honey, warm drink. I'm adding some lemon juice, you know, just to prevent scurvy among the crew. Everything is dripping wet from the fog. It's really thick. Obviously not really great when you know that there is ice nearby. We are not picking up any ice on the radar yet, but I'm not sure how well you can see the sea ice, which is flat on the sea. But the thing is, we're only doing around 4 or 5 knots right now, so this is a pretty comfortable speed. You know, even if we hit something, we're probably gonna be just fine. And there's no swell anymore. The waves have died down a little bit. Wind has died, the engine is on, and we have spotted our first bits of ice, and these are huge floes stuck on the shore. Mitkä fiilikset Kuidaa?
No paholainen näkyy. Ei voi muuta sanoa. Mutta onneksi noin sen verran iso, että ne näkyy helposti.
There was ice covering this whole area still just a few days ago, and when the ice was driven out by the currents and the wind, most of it drifted out into the sea, but these got stuck on the shore. And some of these must be like a few hundred meters big, The fog is back, but we are rounding the northernmost point of the United States of America. That's Point Barrow right there.
Onko siellä bensaa?
Keseralumi on 6.8. How are you guys?
Pretty nice. We just had some food and we are happy to discover that anchorage. How about you guys?
Yeah, pretty good. Hope to get in there. We're gonna go like 1 more mile, and then we are gonna launch the dinghy, and we'll have the guys go like 200 meters in front of us with the dinghy and the depth sounder. I guess you can just kind of like join the train and come behind us, or I don't know. I think that could work. And then if the guys run into like really shallow spot, then we will just wait for them to find the deeper channel. And if we are drifting, we might just drop the anchor just to keep still, especially if it's foggy and it's hard to keep orientation. Then we might drop the anchor while we find the channel. Over.
Okay, sounds good. And also if you guys go, maybe it would be nice that they have a GPS also, just in case the fog comes, and you know, I'm not sure about the visibility here, it's pretty bad, so just in case. But otherwise I think it's a good plan, and we can stay behind and you guys and wait for the dinghy exploration.
Yeah, the guys, they're gonna have a VHF and and a GPS, and we have a foghorn here on board that we can blow if we lose them. I do know that there was this sailboat that tried to enter from this direction 2 years ago, and it was they ran into some really shallow areas and they turned back, but they also had a draft of 7 feet, so like 2 meters or something like that. Well, we're gonna start slowing down here and heading for the entrance.
Okay, we'll stay behind you.
That's them in the fog. Can barely see them.
Pois ryppy.
Here we go. Visibility is back. They look kind of funny with their yellow jackets. Our other handheld VHF is not working, so we have to use the VHF that's inside. It's a very kind of a long stretch of shallow water, but it's going pretty well. We haven't hit anything really shallow yet. It's funny, Kesera is just like behind us. Paljon? Paljon? We had made a somewhat of a risky choice, as attempting this entrance wouldn't have been possible in bad weather, but our assessment was correct. The weather held up and we were able to make the entrance in easy conditions. The sea ice that looms nearby also blocks any possible swell, so there was no swell to worry about. We've been doing this for over an hour now, and the depths are never less than like 3 meters. Or I mean never more than 3 meters. Jesus, it's a big lagoon. Paleleks käsi?
Onko rommit on pöydässä? Onko rommit pöydässä luokaajille? Olisi ollut hauskaa, jos oltais lähty soutamaan.
Niin josta.
Tää oli isompi kuin kallavesi tää helvetin laguuni.
Ottakas vähän, mä laittaa ankkuun.
Niin kyllä mennään. Ei vahvasti. No kyllä meikä käsiä ainakin tietää, että on tuolla meressä.
So this is what we were using, just a handheld, what do you call this? Eco sounder, you get the depth from this. Thanks Gutti, great job.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You held it in your hand very well.
Yeah, it was a bit cold water, but no problem.
It is so foggy, we are now anchored and it's getting really soaked in again. What do you think, Gutti? Is it safe to go ashore with this much
I'm not
fog?
going today. I'm gonna drink rum with you so inside the cabin. You can go.
So there can be polar bears here, and if it's like really foggy, then maybe you can't see them so
Yeah, I
well.
think you saw already some of polar bears. Maybe 10.
Aika onnellisen näköinen.
No kyllä, sen verran kädet jäässä, että pitää saa vähän lämmikettä. Hyvin.
Joo.
Ensimmäiselle legille.
Yeah.
Skippis.
Tuhdimpaa, mutta joo.
Tosi hyvä. Eikö oikeesti?
Vähän ryypättää.
Mutta oli oikeesti niin hyvä reissu.
Joo.
Päästiin helpolla.
No joo, jotenkin pelottaa.
Alright, the wind is here. I'm really glad we are tucked away. It's just freezing cold. It's really damn cold, and it's just such a big difference from the previous days. The winds picked up, and each hour the ice inched ever closer to the coastline. Looking towards our intended direction of travel, we could see a continuous line of ice in the horizon. This meant that we'd be stuck here for several days. Meanwhile, the other boats who left Nome after us were battling upwind in these same winds. During our time at this northernmost point of the Iñupiaq homelands, we would also meet some of the potentially unfriendly local wildlife.
Avaras luonnossa olisi. Ihan oikeassa luonnossa.
But more about that in the next video, which I am already editing here as we speak. Thank you so much for watching this one. There is one thing that I want to quickly address about this video, and that is the integrated ad segment for like a third-party service, Saily, that was included in this video. And obviously I have not done many of these advertising integrations before, but that is something that I might explore more in the future. So just a quick heads up for you, as long as I feel that the product or service is something that's responsible and something that I myself use or might use. So the honest truth, of course, about these ad segments is that the reason that you see them is that it makes sense financially for the creator, in this case the creator being me. But the number one funding source for the channel and for myself, for my income and for my salary, so to speak, is still crowdfunding and will remain to be crowdfunding and Patreon. And patrons do get access to completely ad-free videos, so there's no YouTube ads or integrated ad segments. So in case you're interested in becoming a patron, check out my Patreon page. Not just for the ad-free videos, but you know, most of the people who have joined as patrons are people who just want to support the creation of these videos financially. You know, it's kind of like just like paying for Netflix or for anything else like that. And that is how I like to view it myself as well. You also get access to a private chat group and some live streams and special updates, and there's also now I've made like a playlist of the ad-free videos, so they are easier to watch through at your home. But in any case, whether you choose to watch the videos through Patreon or on YouTube, in the end both are good. You know, that's the thing that most matters to me, is if people enjoy these videos and watch them. That's like the most important thing, no matter where you do it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one as well, and I will see you all again next time. Bye bye.